Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Rick. Just changing up a few things here as we get started. Um, Hope that everybody has had a good week up until this point. Uh, this is going to be a real quick focus, focus Friday. Look, being focused is extremely important. So I want to give you insight into uh, some things you need to do to remain focused. But I'm going to be very brief here today. Before I get started, real briefly, I'm not going to go into great detail, but there are three offers in the description box. The first one is the 7-day online business launch course. If you've listened to me, you know what that is. If you want to learn how to launch a money making mechanism, well, it's a full-fledged company, whether it's a revenue generating system or whatever, and you want to learn how to do that repetitively to create multiple streams of income, I'm giving you the blueprint that I've used for the last 13 plus years, almost 14 years. Um, I'm excited because, hey, speaking of that 13 plus years, I'm coming up on year number 56, about to create that, and it'll be 56 years Tuesday that I have been blessed to be alive on this planet and do what I can to be a force and a mechanism here. I'm excited about that. So the 7-day online business launch course, the next one is the Legacy Wealth online course. This is an 18-month course, normally priced at $2,600. Is right now currently, I believe, $699, and that's just for today. It's going to go up tomorrow. I'm actually doing a wealth presentation at a mail conference tomorrow, and so after that, it's going back to its regular price. And finally, there is the Unleashing the Power of Artificial Intelligence Masterclass, our latest class we've launched at the Legacy Wealth Academy. There is the base course, and then there's the certification course, which allows you to become certified in a certain area of artificial intelligence so that you can help companies, businesses, and families integrate AI into their everyday workflows and affairs. If you should happen to sign up for the AI course, all of the courses mentioned in the description box will come as a bonus. If you sign up for the other two, you will get the Mind Unleashed course free and the Ascension personalized 6-month success and growth plan for free. That's that. Look, let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Focus Friday. There are so many different things that I could talk about when we talk about focus. I could talk about getting rid of the distractions. I can talk about narrowing down your task list. I can talk about prioritization. I think that we live in a fast paced world where things are moving at 100 miles an hour. There are so many things to do. There's so many things on your to-do list. There's so many people making demands of you, from work to family to friends. You have dreams, you have aspirations, you have hopes, you have responsibilities. All these things are moving at a massive rate, and you're trying to figure out what do you need to do to become focused. Focus is so important to ensure the highest level of quality, to ensure follow through, to ensure that you are committed to something to the point of getting it done. So, how do you remain focused? The first thing that most people don't even think about is you need to take massive, intensive, and specific action now. You need to move on what it is you need to be doing now. Now, the thing is, you need to be able to narrow down what now is. Now is the first step. Now is the thing that demands the most of your attention and has the most possibility for progression. In other words, you need to know what things you need to move. Most of the time, it won't be the easy things. Most of the time, it won't be the easy checks on your checklist. We have a tendency, because there's so many things to do, that everybody wants to feel productive. Everybody wants to feel successful. Everybody wants to feel as if they are getting something accomplished. So what we tend to do is we tend to go to the to-dos on our list that are easy to get done. Why? The more checks, the more successful and productive we feel. But that's not how life works. Life says, I need that thing that has the greatest impact, the greatest magnitude, the greatest force in your life. I need that done first. And it may take the first 3 to 4 hours of your day to get that one thing done. But what you're going to find is, in doing that one thing, it carries more value than doing 10 of those smaller things. And in many instances, though, some of those smaller things fall completely off of the to-do list by doing this one thing that has the greater value. So the first thing you need to do is you need to take action. You need to know what you need to do, and you need to move on it. Unfortunately, I come across people consistently who have an idea of what they want, but they won't take action. They'll have an idea of what they want, but they won't become committed. They'll have an idea of what they want, but they're not set in their purpose and intent to follow through. No follow through, no victory. No follow through, no progress. No follow through, no win. No follow through, no elevation. Everything that you need requires you to take action and follow through on it. You got to be willing to go the distance. You got to be willing to start something and finish it. You've got to have some consistency in your efforts, some consistency in your approach, some consistency in how you are going to get something accomplished. You can't be in 1 minute, out the next minute. You can't move along with the circumstances of your life. You can't move along with how you feel in your emotions and your moods. You're going to have a level of commitment that says, if I feel like it today, I'm doing it. If I don't feel like it today, I'm doing it. If I have a bad day, I'm doing it. Outside of actually becoming incapacitated, I'm making moves. You got to wake up and you've got to put in the work. You've got to be willing to do exactly what it is that is necessary. I'm telling you, it's not the smartest people that get on in this world. It's not the most connected people that get on in this world. Having knowledge is important. Having resources and networks are important. Having an unbelievable plan is important. All of these things are important, but at the end of the day, you know who wins? The person who finishes. The person who gets up every day and says, no matter what I'm putting in the work, no matter whether I can see it with my eyes or measure it with my hands, I know that if I'm putting in the work, I'm getting the job done. And at some point, what I plant, I harvest. And that's the problem. People want harvest, but they don't want to plant and cultivate. People want the promise, but they don't want the process. People want to see the end result, but they don't want to put in the work. And when things don't go their way, they blame life. They blame their background. They blame their parents. They blame this situation that happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, not marginalizing or dismissing anything that has happened in your life. It has meaning. It's been a part of sculpting who you are, but you have to understand that you have the ability, the capacity, the force, the fortitude. And when you work with the faith, you have the ability to change any circumstance or situation. People talk to me about the things that I've been through in my life, and when they become aware of some of the challenges that I met, and then they look at some of the things that I've been able to accomplish, they ask, how did you do it? And they say, look, you're looking at the circumstance. I never do. I'm aware of the circumstance. I acknowledge that it exists, but it doesn't get my focus. Why? Because whatever you focus on, you feel. Whatever you give attention to becomes bigger. I don't focus on the circumstance. I focus on the outcome. I have a direct divine connection to the Most High God, and I have a direct line. So here's what happens. While circumstances are presenting themselves, and most people tend hold to the circumstance. Most people tend to identify with the circumstance to the point that their momentary situation becomes elongated and enduring because they've identified. Whatever you identify with, you become a part of. And when you become a part of it, becomes an anchor in your life. And you're trying to shake free of it, but you've made yourself a part of it. If you talk about it every day, you've become a part of it. If you're whining and complaining about it every day, you've given it power. So what do? I focus on the outcome. I look beyond it. I connect with God, and God has given me a vision of who I am, where I'm going, and what I'm supposed to be doing. Every day in my life, I wake up, I'm moving in this vision. Every day I wake up in my life, I'm moving in this purpose. Doesn't mean every day I wake up, things are going my way. Doesn't mean every day I wake up, everything happens the way I want it to happen. What it means is I wake up understanding who I am. I wake up understanding where I'm going. I wake up understanding that when it comes to destiny, by the very definition of the world, it's destined to happen, meaning that anything or anyone that gets in my way only becomes a part of my destiny. The definition of destiny in simplification means anything that gets in my way, anything or anyone that tries to stop it only becomes a part of it, only ensures that it happens. See, destiny means that you can't stop it. The only person that can stop your destiny, the reason you're here, is you. When you disengage from your purpose, when you disengage from your destiny, when you decide that all of a sudden it's too rough, it's too hard, I don't want to step out, that this comfort zone feels good to me, what you're doing is you're disengaging from your purpose. You are looking at the creator and says, I understand that, but I'm not prepared to go the distance. In the moment that you decide you're not prepared to go the distance, every possible thing that will stop you from doing so will present itself, and you'll find yourself backing out of what you were here to do. I tell people all the time, I say, you're frustrated with your prayers because you are praying to God to ask God to deliver you from the very giants he designed and sent you to slay. God's not going to answer that in the affirmative. You're never going to be dismissed from your responsibilities associated with your purpose. You are here to slay giants. You are here to do the phenomenal. You are here to do the extraordinary. You are here to do the exceptional. You're not going to get that standing around meandering through the maze of mediocrity, hanging out in the box of average, pretending that because everybody else is there, it makes it okay. No, you weren't designed to be like everybody else. That's why you have a uniqueness in your gift. You may be doing the same thing other people are doing it, but you're not doing it the same way, because your design is indicative of your destiny, and your destiny was meant for you to stand out, to be a representation of the designer. You're not in last place because they have an advantage. You're in last place because you're not acting on your purpose. It says that your gift will make room for you and bring you before great men. What does it mean? It means that the very innateness of how you are designed has a gift in it. It has a gift in it. And in this gift is the key to your success. The acquisition of knowledge is important, because knowledge is the beginning of what? Wisdom. And wisdom is the beginning of what? Understanding. And it's in the understanding of things that you're able to move. I'm telling you something, that when you do all this, so you need knowledge, you need connectivity, you need brotherhoods, you need a network, you need a circle of winners that surround you, because you're going to be the average of the people you spend the most time with. Predominantly, we find that you will be the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, the most time talking, the most time hanging out. And you're going to look up, normally your income is going to be around the same. Normally your life that you live is going to be the same. Your value system is going to be the same. Association brings about assimilation. If you want to do something greater, you're going to have to surround yourself with people who are greater. You're going to have to be willing for a while to be the smallest person in the room. Something my grandfather, who had a 2nd grade education, taught me: son, it's no doubt that you're going to have the ability to learn. There's no doubt that you're going to go out. You are a very smart young man. But let me tell you something. Never let yourself be the smartest person in the room. The moment you do that, you stop growing. So always search out people who know more than you. Search out people whose presence and knowledge alone make you a little uncomfortable, because that's where you're going to seed yourself. That's where you're going to graft knowledge, graft wisdom, graft expertise, graft insight. You need to put yourself in a position where the conversation changes. You need to put yourself in a position where the expectations change. You need to put yourself in a positions where the standards are higher. You need to put yourself in a position where the only alternative, the only option is to win. What are you doing? What are you doing? See, it's easy to sit up and talk about what's wrong. It's easy. I tell people this all the time. That pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. What does that mean? Well, it sounds cute, Doc, but what does it mean? It means that nobody circumvents the challenges of life. Nobody skates around the vicissitudes of life. Nobody is going to get past pain. Pain will find you. But let me tell you something. There's a difference between pain and suffering. Pain is the temporal or the temporary experience you get when something is in a place of displeasure. But let me tell you something. Suffering is when you start to identify with the source of the pain. Suffering is when you start to say, because of this. Suffering is when you accept poverty as your lot in life. Suffering is when you accept being in abusive relationships as simply who you are and what you should expect out of life. Suffering is working a job 9 to 5 that you hate each and every day of your life because you feel that's your only alternative and you've never explored anything beyond that. Suffering is not standing where you're supposed to be standing and doing what you're supposed to be doing because you've accepted that you've done all you can and you've never done all you can. That's what's wrong with a lot of people, is they just embrace the suffering. It's time to step outside of that box of average. It's time to release the reins and shackles of mediocrity. It's time to sit up and start saying, I wasn't built to be average. I wasn't built to be like everybody else. There's something about me that's special. I'm going to start to walk in the uniqueness of my gift. I'm going to start to explore my purpose. I'm going to start to chase my dream, my vision. I'm going to start to walk and live and be an impact in this world. You were designed to be a blessing. And in your design and gifting for this ability to bless is also the means through which you will be resourced so that you can be a greater blessing. A long time ago, I learned to stop chasing the money and start pursuing the purpose. When I pursue the purpose, when I am a blessing, when I am a resource, when I am encouraging, when I am touching lives, the opportunity to generate revenue presents itself. There's absolutely nothing wrong for having people for paying you for something of value that you bring to their life. And something that another thing my grandfather told me says, always leave the room in a better situation than you found it. Always fill your space. And I say, well, when you say fill your space, Pops, what do you mean? He says, look, always give more than what you're asking. And if you do that, you never have a problem with what you're asking. The problem is never the price, son. The problem is the value. If what you're giving is of more value than what are you asking, you're more than justified in asking for it. And the thing is, there's no limit to what you can give. There's no limit to the impact you can have. So then there's no limit to the things you can generate. But you're going to have to be willing to be the best version of yourself. You're going to have to be willing to get outside of yourself. You're going to have to be willing to step up and stand out and move forward. You're going to have to be willing to become something greater than where you are now. You're going to have to stop accepting this thing that's going on in your lot in life, this circumstance, as being permanent, as being the defining moment in your life. I'm going to say this, then I'm going to be done. At one of the most trying times in my life, the worst year of my life, last year wasn't no joke either, but 2012, by far the worst year of my life. Last year takes a second. But here's the thing. Someone who knew me came to me and said, hey, look, I'm concerned about you. I said, why? He says, I know what you're going through. And yet I'm watching you. You're over here at the homeless shelter, setting up food and clothing distribution and smiling. I know what you're going through. You're over here teaching and preaching, but I know what you're going through. And you got this smile on your face. I'm concerned that you are practicing escapism, that you are in a state of denial. I say, no, see, what you don't understand is you're more focused on my circumstance than I am. See, I'm aware of what's going on in my life, but it's not the defining moment in my life. It does not change who I am. It does not change my purpose. See, a lot of people define themselves by the things they have, by the people that they can associate with, but they lose sight of the fact that your value is in your identity and planted at you before time. God told Jeremiah, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you and ordained you. Before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. This was an intimate thing. To say I knew you in those days wasn't I knew of you. It was intricately, in detail, I knew you, and I had a plan for you. He would later on tell Jeremiah, I know the plans I have for you, to prosper you and to give you a hope and a future, not to harm you. But this is the thing. See, so when he asked that, I said, no, so you focus on the wrong thing. See, my spirit communicates with the spirit of the Most High God, and the spirit of the Most High God reminds me daily of who I am. And so when I look at the circumstance, I'm aware of it, but there's something in my spirit that disagrees with my circumstance. See, faith transcends the circumstance. Let me say that again. Faith transcends the circumstance. What do you mean? I'm telling you that in studying people who are declared in two primary categories of pessimists and optimists, what we find is this: the pessimist tends to frame everything in negative. Even when they're experiencing something good, they can find the wrong in it. They're built that way. They're built to find the wrong. Their mind focuses on it. So they have a pessimistic outlook on life. They don't see the good. They don't expect the good. They see what they see. Now, the optimist tends to see the silver lining, and no matter what, it's always something good coming out. It can be a horrible situation, but they are going to find the good in it. They're optimistic. Now, when we look a little deeper into the lives and the makings and the workings of the minds of both the pessimists and optimists, this is what we find: that when we truly evaluate the situations of the pessimist, while they focus on the negative, their evaluation of the situation is more in line with what's really happening. They're just ignoring the good part of it. So what they're seeing and focusing on, they're evaluating pretty accurately. They're not making the wrong worse than it is. They're just focusing on it. On the other hand, the optimist tends to see things better than it actually is. They're actually exaggerating the good that they see. But here's the thing: when you study them over time, 5, 10, 15 years, the optimist's life turns out better than the pessimist. They end up living life at what they saw it at versus where they were living it at when they saw it. Did you get that? So in other words, what did God tell you? You shall declare a thing and it shall be established for you, so that light will shine on your path. In other words, you have the ability to see beyond the moment. You have the ability to say, I disagree with this moment. Casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought to captivity into the obedience of Christ. I have the ability to say, no, I'm not, this is not where I'm staying. I might be here, but this is not where I'm staying. It might be a momentary thing, but this is not the end of the story. The same thing that this friend was pointing out, when I first entered into that situation and I saw, man, this is the toughest thing I've ever had to take on. I didn't go through no long drawn out prayer with God. God and I have a constant communication. We are in alignment. We have a relationship. This isn't something nobody else has to organize them or monitor for me. It's important for me because it is the foundation on which I live my life. So here I am. And so when I realize I'm there, I realize that I'm there for a purpose. There are these things you simply have to go through. You can't have the promise without enduring the process. And most people balk at the process and never get the promise, and they get frustrated by it. But their process always precedes the promise. And it's not easy, trust me. But what happens is I go to God, and it was real simple conversation. I know I need to go through this. All I ask is that you don't let me die until I get through it. So in other words, keep me up. And my promise was, if you wake me up, I'll answer the bell. This is the conversation. If you wake me up, I'll answer the bell. He's been waking me up ever since, and I've been answering the bell ever since. 26 books published. Another one will be published for the end of this year. 47 companies brought to profit and fruition over the course of my life. Many have been done since that day. Traveled extensively, spoken extensively, helped I don't know how many people launch pad their dreams, their visions. From the darkest place of my life, I launched it because I believed and I decided either I'm going to get it or I'm going to die trying, but I will not fold to circumstance. So take action. That's my challenge. Take action. On that note, look, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. As I always say, I live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I die on E. I challenge you to do the same thing. Again, there are some offers of online programs I've created to help you do everything from launch a business to learn how to leverage and monetize AI to creating an entire arena of knowledge around wealth building from A to Z. That course, that wealth building course is an 18-month course. It took me 10 years to research. I've interviewed some of the major hitters, calling their names, Ray Dalio. I had email exchanges with Warren Buffett. I mean, David Swenson, T. Boone. I mean, just some people that it took me years. First of all, I mean, nobody, you email them and call them and they say, okay, Rick's on the phone, and they pick up. So it literally took consistency and persistence. Again, the very thing I'm talking about. Well, I tried to reach out and they didn't answer. Well, no, I didn't think it would be easy in the first place. Who in the hell is Rick? But what will happen is at the same time that I'm reaching, I'm telling you how God sets things up. At the same time, I'm reaching out to these people. This started 13 years ago. Is at the same time I'm reaching out to these people, I'm applying myself to my passion. I'm applying myself to my purpose. I'm building this online thing that I promised myself I was going to do as I started to rebuild my businesses that took hits in 2006 in the recession and some other things that caused some collapses. But I'm building that at the same time. So I'm starting to build a trail online so that when you Google me, you can see, well, this. So then I stopped just being some crazy dude calling you to this guy that actually has a track record, that actually you can look at and say, okay, this guy's doing this. Maybe he can actually help some people. And what I found out, most of these people want to help people. They will give interviews. They will sit down and talk to you and answer questions, some in person, some on the phone, some via email. And the ones that I couldn't get to talk to me, I went and read all their books. I watched their interviews. I found all of the cohesive ideas around it, put it in a course. That course is there. There's another course, like I said, on AI, 7-day online business launch course. If you happen, I want people on this AI thing. If you happen to register for the AI thing, I'm giving you everything else in the description box for free today. So if you register for either one, there's 2 AI courses. There's the base course, and then there's the certification course where you literally can become certified so that you can help other people integrate AI into their business. And we're on the front end of this thing. It's the most rapidly growing piece of technology to date. I mean, faster than the internet, faster than cell phones, faster than social media. It is growing. And the thing is, those Goldman Sachs predicted that over the next year, so it's time is winding down, so it's not even 2 years anymore. Over the next year and a half or so, AI is going to replace or eliminate 300 million jobs globally. Let me clarify that globally, because I said it once before somebody. So there's only 330 million people in America. So that means nobody. I said globally. And the idea that economies are now somehow bordered and held in. The beautiful thing about the internet is it removed the borders for commerce. It removed the borders for market acquisition. One of the best things that ever happened to me was moving online, because now I have clients in Sweden, clients in the UK, clients in Africa, clients in Eastern Europe, clients in Australia, clients in the Caribbean. Why? Because it takes it off. But also, you're going to have to understand that you're going to have to be ahead of the game. One of the things I see a big problem with, a lot of people like to jump on the back end of trends. So you get the scraps, or you become the people that are leveraged and used. So the people in front of the trend get wealthy and rich. It's time to be able to leverage this, not for the sake of quote, 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 money. It's a necessary thing you need in order to do things, resourced. But the thing is, the power of impact changes everything around you. And that's what I want people to do. Start looking at impact. Start looking at how are you going to impact the world. If all you're doing is being impacted by the world, you're not living at the level of your design. God didn't put you here to be moved and pushed around. So on that note, look, I'm gonna get ready to get out of here. If you want to take advantage of it, it's there. But whatever you do, you need to take action. So again, I thank you. You guys have an unbelievable remainder of your day. Have an awesome weekend. I'm always excited when I get to sit down and be before people. So I'm excited about this conference this weekend. Also excited about 56 rolling up on me. There's a time that didn't know, think, 56 was going to get here, but here I am pulling up on it. So again, everybody have an unbelievable remainder of your day, and I'm going to get out of here. Take care.